Alright. Hi guys, thanks for joining us for our first audio podcast. Today I have with me
Matt
and
Brian.
And we're just here to talk about things that are going on and pretty much just about anything, everything, movies, video games, events and news, whatever. Just kind of hear and BS. And of course Matt's getting drunk.
Random bullshit.
Wait, you have 2 beer cans.
Yeah, well, he got me some right away.
Yeah, I got up to go close the fridge to get him another one.
Yeah, so the light on. So you better watch that shit.
Oh, so the refrigerator door was open, and that was Matt's cue. Like, hey, I haven't finished the beer I've got now, but could you give me another one?
Yeah, pretty much.
Hey, you gotta have backups, right?
But you know, Matt. I mean, look at Monday nights. You know, when we go out for wings.
Well, yeah, he pre-games, post-games, after bar.
He drinks before we go out. He drinks while we're out, and then he drinks when he goes home.
Party doesn't stop until I pass out.
So when you wake up in the morning, you roll out of bed and you're
I do not wake up and drink Jameson.
No, don't lie. You have.
I don't even. You know the thing with that joke is. You always said I get out of my table next to my bed. I don't have a table next to my bed.
Well, do you have a dresser for your clothes and shit?
No.
He's probably just sitting next to his bed or under it.
Yeah, he probably has it under. Like he reaches under. He's like, yeah, unscrews the cap.
You know, some people who have insecurity problems put guns under their pillows. Maybe you have a bottle of Jameson.
Maybe you're gonna get piano dropped on your dick.
Why would you? This ain't a cartoon.
Yeah. What is it, Looney Tunes?
Right.
No, I see you get a little
Okay.
small toy piano go.
So,
pew!
you're a Looney Tunes character. What one would you be?
Holy shit! I'd be Bugs Bunny because he's a smart ass and he gets away with everything.
Oh yeah, I can kind of see that one.
Yeah, I'd probably have to agree just because he gets away with everything. He even like Elmer who's trying to shoot him, and he's just like, nope, duck season. He gets away with it, and he's the star of everything, so probably would have to say him too.
What do you mean, how would you see yourself? Like, if you were put into a Looney Tunes character, like, what one would you see yourself as actually being as you are?
Foghorn Leghorn.
Now, wait a minute.
Hey, wait, son. Wait a minute, son.
He talks way too damn much for it to be me.
You talk a lot, Matt.
Yeah, that's true. I would still say.
I'd say Matt's Daffy.
Porky
Duck.
Pig?
Maybe Porky
Daffy
Pig.
Duck is Daffy Duck because he gets mad all the time.
Yeah.
I can see that. I'd see it'd be a crossbreed between Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck.
Crossbreed?
Crossbreed.
So, Rabbit Duck?
Right.
I'd have the ears and a big old beak face, billfold. What the fuck are those things called? Not a duck.
Bill.
A bill. There
That's
you
what
go.
I call a duck bill.
Shut the fuck up.
What is it called?
I couldn't think of it. Fuck you.
What about you, Brian?
Me? I see myself as a Tasmanian devil.
Yeah.
When I get mad, I go off the handle a little bit. I might over-exaggerate
You
something.
spin around in circles and shit?
Yeah, I'm usually, there's this tornado of destruction in the vicinity around me. And a lot of times,
Thanks for that, man.
a lot of times I'm not, people are like, what did you say? Because usually I'm blah, blah, blah,
That's spitting everywhere.
so it usually goes about that route.
Yeah, you mentioned guns under your bed. I definitely I'm thinking about getting a gun at some point. I know you were talking about getting a Glock, Brian.
I like Glocks.
What about you? Would you ever own a gun, keep it under your bed or your pillow or
Protection.
yeah?
I'm good. I'm nothing against guns. I just don't really buy one.
And most people know this, but I'd have to get a Smith & Wesson 500. Just because, Brian's shaking his head, just because even if you don't have to fire it, that's a damn big gun, and people look at that and be like, yeah, I'm out. It's a 50 caliber pistol, revolver, handgun. It's like, nope, I'm out. Even if you miss, that's taken off a limb.
Well, if I could somehow get my hands on one and have the money to buy one, I'd get an AA-12.
Yeah, you and your noob gun.
Drum barrel. Call it what you want. You don't want to stand in front of me if I start popping off 30 rounds.
Yeah.
Just be like...
If I had the money, I'd give myself a plasma sword. Yeah, man.
That'd be fucking badass.
I'm Matt. I'd get the Iron Man suit with a plasma sword. I'm Tony Stark.
No, just sounds like you have my tank missiles. Tank missile. Ding.
You and your tank missile.
Which I never understood why they only use that one time.
Because then it would take away the effect of how awesome it is.
I know, but it's so awesome.
That's like what's your favorite dessert of all time? Like you think of mine's cheesecake.
Putang pie.
No, I'm talking seriously. Like mine seriously is cherry cheesecake. But do you think if I had cherry cheesecake all the time, I would be like, well, whatever.
Yeah, you get sick of it.
You get sick of it.
I suppose.
So that's like with the tank missile. You see him do
but
it.
they didn't even use it in the second one, and in the second one they had the laser thing.
Yeah, see, the laser thing was cool.
And then they used it in Avengers, and he's trying to cut through that guy. Says your soup's overcharging or heating or whatever. I'm like, okay. I just like the goddamn tank missile, right? Fuck.
Well, he did use the ex-wife.
Hammer tech.
So, speaking of superhero movies, Batman came out last night. Well, technically this morning at midnight.
Oh, it's out on
Blu-ray and DVD
and iTunes and all your favorite retailers.
I'm not.
They came out on those week before.
Yeah.
What are they?
Yeah.
Oh, well, I don't fucking know.
Well, Xbox, they've got Ted right now, and it's...
Ted's a great movie.
Yeah, it's not supposed to come out for another week yet.
Yeah, for another week. It's not supposed to be out till the 10th, but since Xbox, iTunes, all those get special digital exclusive stuff. But
Yeah.
you have to buy it. This isn't... I mean,
Yeah, you can't rent it.
you can't rent it until the 10th. So.
Have you guys seen that movie yet?
Ted? Yeah, we went to in the theaters the day of.
Probably a couple days after.
Maybe it was the day after. I don't know, but I know we loved it. Absolutely loved it.
See, we're matinee goers. You know, a lot of people go to midnight releases.
Yeah.
I like the cheap price, and I like to go see the day after because usually,
I like going to the day too. It's very expensive as fuck even during the day.
Yeah, well, it's $10.50 for evenings.
Yeah.
$7.50.
Something like that.
$7.50 for a matinee, and midnight releases are usually $11. So I'm like, that's
Why pay all that extra money plus sit in a crowded movie theater where you're
because you go early in the morning, probably get a one good time right in the middle, afternoon or whatever. Still hit the matinee, and nobody's there. You got most of the time we usually get the theater to ourselves, and it's like yay.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So yeah, Ted. We saw in the theater. What else did we this year?
Avengers,
I think was one of them. I didn't. Batman.
Thor.
Multiple. Yeah.
Can't kidnap me. You also get some. Hold on. I hear the fat kid running.
I hear the fat kid running. But no, I didn't Batman for a number of reasons. Obviously, the whole shooting thing that everybody knows about. But even then, there was such a hype behind the Dark Knight, and when with the Joker and everything, and everybody loved that movie. And I was thinking, well, when the third one comes out, it's not going to be as good, which there's a lot of people that rave it's an excellent movie, but then I've had friends that are like, it's not that great. So.
I liked it. What's fucked up is right after the shootings and shit happened, I went there with, I think I went with a friend of mine. I can't remember which friend I went with. Or maybe it was my brother. I don't really remember.
Did you wear your bulletproof vest?
No, it was fucked up. So we're watching the movie, and all of a sudden I hear a loud clang, right behind me, somebody dropped a cane or something. I was like, "What the fuck was that?"
Oh, somebody brought in their own soda or something.
Oh, it sounded like a boom, like boom.
Really?
It scared the fucking bejesus out of me.
Usually what happens, tragedies like that usually gets people pretty spooked and stuff like that. So,
Yeah, and unfortunately, a lot of people are doing it just to get their 15 minutes of fame. It's not even about because they want to kill somebody or they're mad at somebody or whatever. They're just doing it to get famous.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's so sad because, especially a tragedy like that, you've, got families that have been torn apart and destroyed, I mean, people brought it up, why was there a 6-year-old girl and an infant at that movie?
Yeah, right.
But it's not it wasn't my choice. It was theirs, and obviously they made a horrendous choice to go see that movie. But you can't predict it.
No.
One lunatic, crazed guy comes out and decides that this is what he wants to do.
I mean, I was in Stevens Point for Thanksgiving, my hometown, while I was visiting family, and I went out the next morning on Black Friday with some friends because they're like, oh, we're out here waiting, and it's 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning. We're waiting in line to get into a store, and there's kids, 5, 6, 7-year-old kids. I'm like, I understand it's a holiday, but it's 2 o'clock in the morning. They should be at home in bed.
Mm.
Why do you have them out just to go shopping?
Well, I mean, some people don't have babysitters, and this is their only alternative.
I
But
suppose, but then I would see family, like a husband and wife, like one of you could stay home and watch the kids.
well, yeah, it's true. I mean, people make bad decisions. I don't think you can't justify anything, and you can't say if it's right or wrong because you're not living their life. So
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, from our standpoint, yeah, I took my kids to McDonald's, right, and I usually make them sit down, like, oh, we get food, they have to sit down and stuff like that. And we were sitting at a McDonald's, and the kids who were in the playland area were making this huge ruckus, like literally just beating stuff really loud. And the mother didn't really care. She's just like, oh, whatever. And another guy kind of stood up and said, your children shouldn't be acting this way. And like kind of gave her this really kind of snotty thing. And I'm like, yeah, I stood there and I'm like, my kid, no, stay here.
Right.
Don't want to get mixed up with whatever they're doing. So, yeah, it's hard. A lot of people will try to offer up their opinion and do whatever they're like, this is how you should raise your children. This is what that. And then in that situation, the parent's going to get really defensive. Like,
Right.
who the hell are you telling me to raise my own kids
Right,
and stuff like
exactly.
that? But yeah.
you just figure there's still some common sense things like that. Like,
well, society's changed.
Yeah.
I mean, you view how people used to view childcare in the 50s.
yeah.
You used to send your children out, like, go play, get out of here. What are you doing in the house?
Even like when I was
neighbor-
growing up.
Neighborhoods were a lot safer then, though, too.
Yeah.
I mean, there wasn't so much shit going on.
Or was there less reported?
That could be it, too.
But I'm just saying, like, when we were growing up, I mean, how often were our parents like, oh, be home when the streetlights come on?
Yeah.
I mean, granted, I didn't know you back then, but how often would we be, oh, it's midnight and we're across the street in the park, BSing, and I was, 14 years old, so whatever. It wasn't like the time with now where we have technology where everybody sits indoors. I remember, even being 6, 7, 8 years old, I'd ride my bike around the neighborhood all day, or I'd go to the park and go swimming or whatever, and my mom was just like, okay, be home when the lights come on, or, yeah. And
I mean, a lot of things have changed. It's that stranger danger stuff. People
Yeah.
get scared. I mean, you're sending your children out, and good Lord, who knows if they're going to come back or not.
Yeah.
People pick kids right up. They're walking home from school. They're gone.
Yeah.
And, having a situation like that has to be terrifying.
Oh, yeah.
I'm
you
sure.
know.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Can you really say if the world's gotten more dangerous now or if it's gotten less? I mean, police, like, good Lord, there's more police officers out there than I've ever seen.
And also, I think we can get the news so much easier now. I mean, back before even the internet, when I was a kid, you wouldn't hear necessarily about the kid that got kidnapped in California, because we live in Wisconsin. So it wouldn't be like, oh, we're getting California headlines. And now I load up, Google or MSN or whatever. There's headlines from all over the world.
Okay,
So
and here's another thing. Now, it kind of upset me in this idea that news from all over the world, right? And especially when it hit locally. Now, we probably shouldn't talk about this much negative news ever, but just to kind of put this into perspective, it's like I was in the McDonald's drive-thru. I go to McDonald's a lot.
Apparently. Apparently.
we're Americans. Who doesn't?
But, my kids love it. In fact, like, you drive by, you even see the sign. They're like, French fries. Like, yeah, we'll get some. So it's true. Going through a drive-thru, just picked the kids up from school, right? And I'm coming through that, and, like, there's cop cars, squad cars. Everything is just driving down this street or whatever. Apparently, the guy... got his kids away from a social worker. Social worker was bringing them over for a supervised visit. Took him in, and then he ended up killing his own kids and himself. Like, this terrible tragedy that hit, right? And so I'm like, this has got to be some pretty big news. It'll be all over the world, right? And I'm reading the story about the same kind of thing, but this happened over in Seattle, and I'm like, why is this beating out, like, why is, the story that happened here
right in the front door,
not making headlines anywhere else? It should say, oh, double tragedy, same thing happened here and here, and they should have shown both and talked about the story. And I'm like, it didn't even, I think I barely read it in a paper.
That was local.
Yeah, well, I mean, here, obviously it had a lot of news and,
right.
and stuff about it, but it was like, that guy took precedence because...
He was in Seattle.
He was in Seattle, and because something like he had... His wife disappeared mysteriously or something, so there was more controversy over that one. So it actually made me mad, because I'm like, this should mean nothing I should be getting mad over about what news story becomes popular or whatever. But it was just that instance that I'm like, why is one more important than the other? Why can't, people want to hear about stuff, obviously that's really bad and negative, but I mean, I don't know, it just bugged me for some weird reason. It gave me something, like because it hit close to home, and I'm like, and nobody else gives a shit or something like that, and I was like, this seems wrong.
Compared to a big city compared to a small city.
Yeah, well, even as like he was saying, it's like, oh, well, the Seattle one's more important. Who cares what happens in Green Bay? It's Wisconsin. Which, and a lot of people seem to be that way, unfortunately. And it's like, we're still here. We're a state, too. We do things that are important. It's not like, oh, hey, we have cheese and beer.
Oh, and brats.
Yeah.
We got this football team that apparently plays once in a while.
Yeah, even though that they're one of the most talked about football teams out there. I mean, there's a reason that we're so hated. I mean, think about it.
Yeah.
A team that does well, of course everybody else is going to hate us.
Well, not only that, we're
you don't hear
a smaller town.
Oh, yeah.
We don't have any single owner. It's, all of us.
Mm-hmm. And,
if you think about it, like the Lombardi Trophy, named after our coach, so it's our trophy, we're Titletown USA, so there's a lot of like, well, why do they get all that? Well, we're good for a reason. And there's a lot of history in the Green Bay Packers, and there's other teams too. I'm not going to deny that. But
Bears suck.
Thank you, Matt. But there's a lot of history in the Packers football
because we're the best,
and because Curly Lambeau helped make the NFL what it is today.
Because he's a pimp.
Thank you, Matt.
So going back to this Smith and Wesson thing, right?
Yeah.
Now,
shit up.
The price on it is, I looked it up here, it's actually not that bad. You're looking at roughly about $1,000 for this weapon.
Nice.
It's, in some auctions and things like that, they've got them priced pretty reasonably. So, comparatively, I've looked up prices for, like a Glock and things like that. Just an average pistol, something simple that would be a protective piece of machinery in your house, like a bazooka or something.
Yeah. Don't come in my house. I'm going to blow you the fuck up. Boom!
Well, if you look at it, bazooka, if you miss, at least you're still going to kill him.
that you're going to kill your house, too.
I'll just do a jumping shot like in Halo. I jumped it.
It's a small price to pay. But, you're looking for a Glock will run about $500 to $600. But you're paying for, a massively high-powered rifle. In fact, I saw pictures. The gun was almost bigger than this guy's upper torso.
Oh, it's a big gun for being a revolver. It's big.
And so here's another thing, which is kind of interesting along the same size. I know you love games that feature the Smith & Wesson, like Resident Evil 5 had it. And so you love that game. That was the first gun that you would get that had unlimited ammo.
I did. I ran around. Like, he got... What did you get? The sniper rifle, didn't you?
Yes, with the sniper rifle.
Yeah, and I'm like, nope, I don't care. Smith & Wesson 500.
Yeah, because that was like sniper rifle. I could sit back. I could support him. He's just like, ah!
Big guys are coming at me. I'm like, bam! Oh, he died in one shot. Bam!
Yeah.
So anyway.
So, the new GTA... It's supposed to be coming out with a Smith & Wesson 500.
Yeah!
It's what it was rumored. There was an article in there saying it. So, would you actually want to play that game because it features that weapon?
Oh yeah.
So, because that weapon is in the game, say, Modern Warfare 4 comes out and it has a Smith & Wesson 500 in it, would you play it?
I would be more apt to.
Would you?
What do you think my favorite gun in Halo is right now? Halo 4. You know what my favorite gun is, but. What gun looks a lot like my favorite gun in Halo 4? Come on.
Oh, the Covenant shotgun or the new?
The saw.
Oh,
it's got the big drum on it.
Yeah.
I get them. It's like,
Because it
Saints
looks
Row
like
my
you're
friend.
88-12. But no, like, you know,
great.
Saints Row the Third came out a while back, and me and you played the crap out of it, and it was a good game.
But
and,
well, I mean, the guns weren't. I mean, some of the guns were funny.
Yeah.
The penetrator. How could you go wrong with
right.
that?
And see, like, the second one was more of a serious one, because you played the second one with me.
Yes.
Also. And then they decided to go the funny route with the third one. But, like, we played GTA 4, and, like, the story, like, I played through the story, and I played through the 3 DLCs, and I played the story, and I was like, okay, this is cool. But it never had, like, I mean, you had your standard weapons, but, I don't know. I was just more excited for Saints Row. And now that GTA 5 is coming out, that's Penetrator, by the way.
The fuck is that?
That's a dildo bat.
It's a dildo bat. And you run around and it flops around, and when you beat people, you're...
Speaking of which, Tyler still has my copy of...
I told you just to get a new one. Just it's $20. You just buy a digital copy. You've already got the pass. I bought him a pass.
That's
so
true. I probably could just digital download it.
Why? I mean, you could get it back from him, and then he won't be able to play it, or or you could just get a copy yourself, and then like when he does get live, you can play with him.
Yeah, I just want to beat people over the dildo bat. But it's just like one of those things. I love sandbox games. I always have, and I don't know. Like GTA 5's coming out. I heard about it, and like they first announced it when Saints Row the Third came out, like the same week. So like people are like, oh my god, yeah, and I'm like, you know, Saints Row the Third, it's over, it's done with. Like they've already announced they're gonna make a fourth one, and then like GTA 5 is supposed to be coming out, and I'm like, I don't know. With the direction, like I said, you know, Saints Row took it more of a funny route with the third one. I mean, 2 and 1 were very serious. They were very gang, you know, oriented, and then the third one was like, oh, this is, you know, goofy, and like you still have the gang, but it's more Hollywood-ish, and you know, there's a lot of Jersey Shore, you know, references in it, and a lot of, you know, just really funny shit. And GTA is still serious, and I don't know, I really haven't thoroughly enjoyed a GTA since Grand Theft Auto 3. Or not 3, I'm sorry, Vice City. That was my favorite one.
Yeah, I think that, yeah, they've gotten really serious. I mean, it could have been, you know, due to the complete lawsuits that they've been going through. Yeah. You know, a company gets so many lawsuits, it tends to drive, you know, either you get good publicity from it because like, oh, wow, look, this game's controversial, you know, we got to play it. But I think they took it in a way like we need to change our game up somehow to make it way more... Red Dead Redemption. Yeah. They went like from this ridiculously out of the control game to Red Dead Redemption. This Wild West where it's serious. I mean, you couldn't... There's no sex. There's prostitutes everywhere, and they're making crude, you know, like, comments. He's like, no, I'm sorry, I'm married.
But even then, you die in the main... Spoilers, by the way, if you haven't played the game. The main character dies, and then you take over as his son. And then even his son is like, nope, I won't do it. And it's like, well, the son's not married. Yeah. Why wouldn't the son have sex with a prostitute?
I mean, Christ, they're freaking everywhere. Just sleep with one of them.
And you could be like, well, it's not morally right. Yeah, I understand, but every GTA, you have sex with prostitutes.
And then you run them over. And
then you take your money. Yeah, you get out and beat them with a bat and get your money back.
No, that's right. Yeah, you drive around, be like, all right, give him a dick wet. Give him a car bounce around for a while. They get out, you get up, be like, pistol in the back of the head, boom.
So you gain all your health back from having sex with a hooker, and then you get your money back.
Yeah,
I see nothing wrong with this.
It's a win-win situation.
Yeah.
And the only problem that ever came with those games is like you have all these mothers and shit going, they're learning from this and they're gonna do bad things. And it's like just. And
this is I'm gonna say this once and for all. This is I'm only gonna say this on this podcast. But I'm gonna lie right now because I'll probably say it more.
Yeah, you will.
But as an adult, pay attention to what your children are getting or what you're buying them. I mean, honestly, like when I was growing up and I got video games, right? Yeah. Mortal Kombat 3 came out. Mm-hmm. Mature rated game. I want to say it was 11, 12. I'm like, Mom, you know, I want to get this game, whatever. And she's like, this is a mature rated game. And I'm like, I understand, but I'm like, you know, it's got blood in it, but it's this fighter game. And she's like, but it's got blood in it. It's a mature rated game. I'm like, yeah, but it doesn't have any drugs in it. You know, there's, you know, no drug use. No, you know, it's just a little violence. You know, it's bloody. And she's like, well, I want to be able to see it. You know, and she had to see it for herself. before she could say yes or no, eventually she said yes because she's like, there's no drug use and then there's no swearing. It's just, it's just violence, which I guess is better than sex and
my mom was against a lot of that shit when I was a kid. I couldn't even get GoldenEye.
But, she kind of looked at it like, you see violence every day anyway within the news and all that stuff. But, she monitored what I played. She monitored the video games that I played and the ones, obviously because I was a kid, so, she bought them. So she had to monitor them. Now it's just like a kid goes up to their mother like, oh, I want money for this. They're like, okay, here you go, and then don't give a crap.
Okay, what system did you get it for?
Sega Genesis.
Sega Genesis. Well, Super Nintendo came out October 13th of 1995. The arcade came out the same year, but in April. So.
Yeah. I'm guessing it was the same type, like the cross-platform.
Yeah.
So what did you say, 1995?
1995.
That was the year my little brother was born.
Which is weird because in here it says the Sega Master System, it only came out in Brazil.
Yeah, the Master System, that was the 8-bit one.
Sega PC, Game Gear, Game Boy, PlayStation, Mega Drive, and Arcade.
The Mega Drive was the Genesis.
Was it?
Yeah.
1995, and it doesn't even give a date. Yeah.
I'm guessing it's the same as the Super Nintendo because it was a cross-platform.
Yeah.
So I was 9.
Ooh.
I was young. But, anyway, she monitored what I got. She had to see it beforehand to give the okay or not. And then now it's just like a kid's like, oh, I want to get Halo, and then the mom takes him to the game store and then buys it for him. Or, whatever else that they get, and then they come back and complain later, like, well, this has blood and sex, and, well, you should have done your research. You should have, as an adult, that's like with their TV, watch what they're watching. Don't come back and sue the game company because you screwed up.
I agree.
Because you were like, oh, whatever, I don't care. And then once the kid sees something violent or sexual or whatever...
Yeah,
boobies.
When it comes to ratings, strictly ratings, like when you're talking about a game and you're not sure about, kids' well-being for a game, I think one of the best things you could possibly do in that situation is if the children can understand the difference between the reality that if I kill, murder, run over, drive belligerently, drugs, alcohol, this stuff will fuck me over for the rest of my life, and they can understand the difference between that and a video game, like, oh, in a video game you can do whatever you want because you can turn it off, you can hit reset, everything goes back to normal.
Yes.
In real life, you can't do these things. Like, once they can determine the difference between the game and real life, I think it's okay.
Right.
But you got to but that's the point when you can say, this is all right.
Yep.
If the kids just don't get it, obviously some bad stuff is going to be reflected towards that. They're going to do the, oh, Sub-Zero can rip somebody's head off. Maybe I can do that too. Point in case, the reason that video game rating systems have been set in place.
Exactly.
I'm gonna get some ice cubes and I'm gonna throw them at people. Maybe they'll freeze.
Well, and I find it funny too. Like, there's older games that growing up that were creepy as hell.
Resident Evil was pretty fucked up when you were a little kid playing it.
Well, I'm not even talking that. I'm just talking. There's like Super Nintendo games, Sega Genesis, or even N64 games. Like, they still had the rating, but they'd still be creepy. I mean, I remember playing like Super Mario World, or not? I'm sorry, not Super Mario World.
Whoa, creepy!
Creepy.
It's me, I'm Mario.
No, the N64 Mario, and there's this fish you fight in there that's called a Unagi, and that thing was creepy as hell. I mean, now it's not because I'm older, but at the time it came out, I'm like, that thing is creepy. And you used to talk about your brother with Majora's Mask.
My little brother, I played Majora's Mask, and it was like the beginning when the mask would just like shoot up and be like, and I gotta admit though. Being an older brother, be like, hey, Eric, you want to play a game? Yeah, just not Zelda. I'm like, okay, let me turn it on. I'd have the Xbox on. Or no, I'd have the N64.
Xbox?
Yeah.
Wow. You had a 360 back then? Damn.
I had my N64 on, and I had these like doors to my cabinet, so I'd close the doors. I turned the game on, close the doors, and I always timed it really good. I turn the TV on, and the first thing pops up is Smash. It's like, and I'll be like, Mom, Matt's playing Majora's Mask. And I just laughed.
But, and like, I think like Batman Returns. I can remember seeing that as a kid, and I think that was a PG or was it PG-13. I don't remember which one it was.
That was creepy. Yeah, that was creepy as shit.
But
the
my
penguin and all that shit.
My mother took me to go see it. She went with me to the movie theater.
Yeah, I went with my dad.
Because I went with, I've seen the first one. We had it on tape, and I was like, oh, the new one came out. And granted,
it's a Tim Burton.
It's Tim Burton, so it was creepy.
Yeah, it was creepy.
And so she went with me, so that way to make sure, like obviously I couldn't have gotten in by myself anyway. But it's not like she dished me out, just like my sister or somebody to be like, here, take him.
I'm 13.
Right. She actually.
I'm a big kid now.
She took me herself and was like, okay, we're gonna watch this, and if it gets creepy, whatever. But and I made it through fine. But
well, yeah, I didn't like shit my pants over watching it, but it was definitely, there was parts you just were kind of like, this is kind of weird.
Well, I mean, I think so much stuff has changed. Kids got actual, like there's so many movies now for kids. I think the market for kids movies has like exploded.
Oh yeah.
Especially when you got Pixar Animation and you got DreamWorks both fighting for the head seat of who's got the best kids movies out there. They got the brand new Wreck-It Ralph, which looked really kind of cool.
It did actually look kind of cool.
Trying to think what Pixar's working on, something like Planes or something like that.
Yeah, it's supposed to be in the same realm of Cars. Well, yeah, I remember growing up, and you'd get a Disney movie here or there, or like an older one.
Let's see here. Little Mermaid, Lion King,
Pinocchio,
Beauty and the Beast. Oh, the Pinocchio?
That's
Mighty Ducks.
But that's like all...
Yeah. Mighty Ducks.
I'm done.
He's like, Emilio! Ryan's like, I'm out. I'm leaving.
Dude,
he's physically getting up and ready to go.
Those were like some of my favorite movies as a kid, the Duck movies.
But I'm just,
Really?
you would get...
You like Cool Runnings?
It's not...
I like the second Mighty Ducks. The first one was good. The second one was good. I hated the third one.
I thought you were gonna say I like the second Cool Runnings. I'm like, they made a sequel.
I liked hockey a lot when I was a kid though too. So that like went right into all that.
But yeah, like you said, Little Mermaid, Lion King. You get ones that would come out every once in a while. 101 Dalmatians.
No, those were all old ones.
Yeah, they were older.
So that was another old one too.
Which one?
Robin Hood.
Yeah.
Robin Hood.
That was my favorite.
And, so you get those every once in a while, or your parents would buy them, whatever, on tape.
VHS. The highest quality you will ever get.
I know it's not Disney, but I like Charlie Brown when I was a kid too.
Yeah.
That shit I always liked a lot.
Charlie Brown, let's see, the Christmas special.
I liked all of them.
The pumpkin one.
Yeah. It's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown.
Yeah.
Holy shit, this pumpkin's gonna be Santa Claus.
Growing up, one of my favorite ones was Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
Well, that'd just be sweet to own a fucking chocolate factory.
That movie was just great. I mean, Gene Wilder, it's really great.
Yeah, not the Johnny Depp one. This is Gene Wilder.
Johnny Depp. He's a good actor. He's just
Captain Jack Sparrow.
He gets really terrible roles every once in a while.
Every once in a while.
Edward Scissorhands, garbage.
It's alright. I see it. It was alright. For what it was.
Crybaby.
That was I saw
first
it
Nightmare
once.
on Elm Street.
Yeah, his epic role. What started him out
was the first Nightmare on Elm Street.
What? Kevin Bacon.
Footloose.
Friday the 13th.
Friday the 13th. Oh yeah, that's right. Kevin Bacon was in Friday the 13th. I did not know this because I was talking to him about Johnny Depp being in the first Nightmare on Elm Street, and then he was just like, Kevin Bacon's in Friday the 13th. I'm like, what? Because I remember watching it, and I'm like, I don't remember him being in there.
Yeah, and that was he had that role before he had Footloose.
Yep.
All I think about Footloose is either him dancing at an abandoned building or when they had the fucking tractor chicken race thing.
Dude, that's awesome. I mean, it's stupid.
I'm not in my tractor.
But everything's
on the line.
And then he got that song, the hero song.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I Need a Hero.
I need a hero.
It's that hero song. What the fuck?
Yeah, I was drawing a blank there. I'm like, oh, whatever.
Don't worry, I got those 3 words to help you out.
I'm sure you do.
I need a
hero.
I need a cheero.
You guys play any good video games lately? I know, Matt, you're still into World of Warcraft, but...
Did you like Diablo? I mean, did you play it anymore?
I bought StarCraft 2. I beat that campaign. That was pretty cool. And
which is good, because the expansion comes out in, 4 months.
Yes,
so, okay, the last part of that campaign...
For StarCraft?
Yes. Ridiculous?
It was, especially when you got on Char.
Yeah, the last
all that
level.
shit. Oh my god.
Well, I mean, yeah, because you get onto the planet and then you got to do all those missions all the way up till you get to the last part. That last part literally had me, and I'm like, what do I do?
I actually played one more playthrough after because it's coming out. Plus the way you.
I just did on casual though.
Oh, you did on casual.
I did on casual.
See, I did it harder, and I did the way he did it, where he got the turrets.
The flame turret.
Yeah, the flame turret, and that's all I built. I didn't buy. I was like flame turret everywhere. So anything that showed up, like Nidus Swarms, whatever. Then I used those with Valkyries, where they just shoot ground units. Yes. So that way a Nidus Swarm would pop up, and then that would take care of them.
Oh, yeah. You guys took out the air shit. I took out the Nidus Swarms.
Really?
Really?
So how hard? How difficult was it to deal with flying?
I think even if I would up the difficulty, it just a lot of it was like I really like ground shit. And Marines, like you get medevacs and you just pop stem pack. I mean, they can blow shit up anyway. So you just build turrets and they come after you because you have really no ground attack coming besides when the Queen of Blades would come at you.
Yeah, but I mean, you have to deal with what the hell are they called, Brood Lords or something, where they would
those are annoying.
They would stay out of the
range
of the
and they had that range
turrets,
shit. It would just kind of
and they would drop those things. That was my main thing. I'm like, I hate dealing with those. So that's why I took down the air facility, because I'm like, air is going to be more annoying than ground will.
Yeah, and what ended up happening was like, you flamed her to hell. Your base is covered in flames, so if something comes by, it's just a whoop, flames everywhere. And you got to turn the Zerglings, and like, it'll warn you when the Nidus Swarms comes up. So then I've got this like massive group of ships that just attack ground, because I'm like, I don't need air. You know, what's the point?
Yeah, why get battle cruisers or wraiths or anything like
that? I mean,
that?
whatever they gave you is what I dealt with. You know, I'm like, I kind of put that up there, had this big group, and then just literally had a guy. I'm like, you, build me flame turrets. And I just kept going up and down, like, I had him set in a queue, so he just kept running around.
Yeah, you can queue up actions.
So that guy, I had a guy just sitting around, just making those things all over my base while I was sitting there, and then, like, Nidus Swarm would come up, I'm like, group of ships. Take that, come back to the base. They'd go off, do the thing, come back. She'd come out. Wherever she goes, I sent that huge fleet to take her out and get her sent back, and then I'd sit back tight until more Nidus Swarms came out. And I never even had to use the thing or whatever.
Yeah, you never had to use the
never had to use it, and I'm like, wow, you know.
I mean, I can imagine how much harder it would have been if I'd up the difficulty, but just the Brood Lords alone, like, just because, like you said, they sit out of range so much, I get so annoyed, I just be like, I just pop it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, see, those things I always hated. Like, that was the one thing where you play the Protoss mission where it's like the end time and all you have to do is survive for so long.
Yeah.
Like, I would build photon cannons everywhere and, you know, I'd be good, but it was just because of those things that would stay out of range that would mess up my defenses. Everything else, I'd be fine. I could hold the line, whatever, but then they'd get, 5 or 6 of those. I'm like, great, my defenses are starting to fall. I got to go take some ships in there, go repair them, and now I'm starting to lose minerals again. And yeah,
and that game was crazy though.
Yeah, and I
shoot Tychus in the face.
Cannot wait for the expansion.
I'm really wondering what's gonna happen from there. Like, do you think they're gonna go after Raynor? Do you think they're gonna?
Well, what ends up happening from what I've seen, on trailers and stuff, is Kerrigan is obviously human.
Yeah.
But she still has some Zerg aspects because she still has that hair from when she was the Queen of Blades, and she still has that psychic connection to the Zerg. So from what the trailers I've seen, she ends up, I'm guessing, on a ship or something with Raynor or whoever, and then she ends up breaking free and goes back to the home planet, and then a lot of the brood mothers are like, well, she's human again, so we don't have to follow her. And so they start breaking away and trying to become the queen of the Zerg now. So she has to start fighting them to take back her broods and stuff. And then there's missions where you...
So they have to go fight her again?
Who?
Kerrigan.
You play as Kerrigan.
Oh, you play as Kerrigan.
Yes, this is the Zerg expansion.
Yeah, well, I mean, if you think about, the main storyline is based on these Zel Nuggets or whatever. These guys are coming up, and they can fully control the Zerg. And that they will wipe out everybody because the Zerg will become so overpowered with these massive overlords, and so the Overmind needed Kerrigan.
That was a trump card.
Because he knew that she could control and she would not be corrupted by these Zel Nuggets or whatever, so that she could save the universe otherwise, because he predicted the whole world was going to be destroyed by these.
Was that storyline that you get from that like crystal thing?
Yeah.
I never played that. How many missions were in that?
There's like 5 in there.
Yeah, it's long.
It's very there's a lot of shit in there.
Last mission's the best. Because it doesn't matter. I mean, the last mission's the vision of the end, where you see...
That's what I was talking about.
See the Xel'Naga coming up. And, you get massive amounts of stuff. You're the Protoss on the very last stand, and you're fighting against an unlimited source of Zerglings. Just keep rushing you and rushing you and rushing you. It's awesome. And there's actually a challenge to maintain the archives and to last as long as, or kill as many things as possible. And it's one of my favorite ones out of the whole thing, but it was a pain in the ass.
But it pretty much, they explained, and the original race that made the Zerg and the Protoss were called the Xel'Naga. And what they had done is they had made the Zerg, and then they're like, okay, well, this is our first attempt at making a race, so they're like, okay, we'll make them. And then they end up making a second race called the Protoss.
Okay.
So then through that whole thing, they kind of programmed the Zerg to constantly try to become one with the Protoss, to kind of fuse together to make hybrids. And so finally it's achieved in StarCraft 1 where they make the first hybrid, and there's a lot of things that are going on. And there's a character in the first game called Lieutenant, or actually the expansion called Lieutenant Duran, who is the voice of these Dark Ones, and you actually run into him in the first game. It's Dr. Narud, is Duran spelled backwards. And thanks for that, man.
It was building up. It had to fucking come out.
And so you end up finding out through the Overmind that he made Kerrigan because the Xel'Naga, once they come back, these Dark Ones, they could control the Overmind and all the Zerg. But if he made Kerrigan, that couldn't happen. She was pretty much the ace in the hole of saying, okay, my Zerg, because, he looked at them as children, my Zerg will now be free and won't have to deal with these Dark Ones coming in to control them. So it's kind of it's the classic Blizzard thing, because with Warcraft when they had humans and orcs, they always made the orcs to be the bad guy, and then all of a sudden, Warcraft 3 came out, and it's like, oh, well, really, it's not the orcs, it was these demons that corrupted the orcs, so the orcs are just trying to find their way too. And so now you've got all these races, and it's really the demons are the bad guys. And it's not the orcs, there's just some other things. So they kind of did that with StarCraft. It's like, well, the Protoss and the Zerg aren't the bad guys. It's really these guys in the background that are controlling everything that are the bad guys.
Oh, and you asked about Diablo. I haven't gotten through the whole game yet, or the first playthrough yet, but I think it's pretty cool. I'm up to the point where you're getting that guy to make that stone, and you have to go in. You had to get like blood or something.
You're getting Zoltan Kuhl's blood.
Oh, Zoltan Kuhl's blood. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I fell in love with the game right away.
Yeah.
I mean, besides the massive amounts of problems that they had, it was a great game.
And still, I think the only gripe I have about it, amazing game, the end content relies too much on the auction house. In order to get better, you have to make money and then buy the better gear off the auction house. It doesn't drop frequently enough so that way you don't have to go to the auction house in order to get better gear. So it's constantly, me and him were playing the same levels over and over again to get money so that way we can better our gear, so we can keep playing.
So you gotta farm the shit out of it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Once you get to Inferno, there's a lot of farming.
We still haven't beat it on Inferno yet.
No, we haven't. I think the furthest we've gotten is... Have we gotten into Act 3? Nice.
Yeah.
How many acts are there again?
4.
Okay.
Until they make an expansion, because I'm sure they will.
More characters. Usually that's how it goes. When Diablo 2 came out, you had the basic, the Barbarian, the Wizard, the Necromancer...
The
Paladin, and then Amazon. I always forget those.
And then they added the Druid and
the Druid, and then the Assassin.
Yep.
And I love it when they add new stuff, especially characters.
Yeah.
And then added a whole new level and stuff like that. But I mean, Diablo's dead, and then is this expansion gonna be oh, now you're after Adria or whatever?
I have no idea. That's what my guess would be. Is you're going after Adria?
So it would be I don't know.
Does the story change at all in the playthroughs, or is it the same story?
It's the same story, but there's a lot of interchangeable. Sometimes you go in and there's a dungeon there that wasn't there before, or There'll be a quest that was there that wasn't there before. So
Okay.
that kind of, there's a lot of events that happen in the world that are random.
Okay. Well,
Yeah,
that's
like,
good.
I've played the game probably 80, 90 times. Ridiculous amount of times. I played it over. What, I've got 3 characters now at a level 60?
I think so. Your witch doctor, your monk,
And the wizard.
and a wizard.
And I played it a lot. I've got a barbarian that I've got through normal. And I've only seen it once. I've gone into the desert area where you're at, and there's a boat. And I'm like, dude, there's a boat in the desert. I was telling Butch this, and I'm like, you get this this book, or where you get this page from a book. There's 7 pages or whatever, and I got one of the 7. And apparently it's a parody off of the show Lost.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is kind of cool, but I'm like, I've seen it once.
Yeah.
And I've done numerous playthroughs.
And that's the same thing too. Like I've gone in and there's a character in Diablo 1 called Wirt, who was a seller, but he was a vendor, but he would sell shit at such a ridiculously high price.
Oh yeah.
Well, then in the second game, you end up in Tristram and he's dead. So you get Wirt's leg off of him because he's got a wooden leg. So you get this off of him, and eventually once you beat the game, you can get to the secret cow level. And you use it with the tone, or you write the tone, and then you'd fuse those together, and you could get to the secret cow level. Well, then in
Secret cow level?
yes,
Yep,
all it was cows and the cow king.
Big cows. They stand on two hooves or whatever, and they have like big, 2-handed polearm weapons. And they were nasty. They were quick and fast, and they came at you in herds of cows.
Yeah.
And you probably get swarmed and get screwed. But it's the best place to get stuff. Like you get ridiculous amounts of treasures from this.
Yeah, and a lot of gold. So then in the expansion to Warcraft 3, the Frozen Throne, they had Wirt's other leg in there. And the description is like, oh, in his many journeys, he came to this realm, and now you found his other leg. So, okay, so there's 2 of them. Well, then in World of Warcraft, you can get an item called Wirt's third leg. Okay, so...
You want to his dick or what?
That's what I'm just saying, there's his third leg. Now, I played Diablo 3. There's Wirt's leg is in there, but it's not the same from Diablo 2. It's his 4th leg. What the hell?
Is he a minotaur?
Well, no, he was a human. He was a regular human. And the messed up part is, I've only come across because there's other, there's one of those random caves. I came to a corpse and his leg popped out. And it was a magical item. And I've looked it up online. I've never seen anybody else that's come across it. I've gone into general chat and I'm like, does anybody else have this or know what it's for? And everybody's like, I don't know what it is, but I'll give you a shit ton of money for it. And I'm like, nope, I'm keeping this in case it is for something. If not now, maybe down the line somebody finds out you need it for something. Because it's really, all it does is 3 to 5 damage, but I'm like, I've never seen this anywhere else.
Well,
ever.
It was I was in one of the first levels just before you get to the spider caves.
Yeah.
And there's that you're going across, you're going up the stairwell, whatever. And usually there's sometimes that the heck is it? He's a potions guy. He sits there and he tells you that, oh, go down and give this to the guy.
Right.
A little bit right over there's usually sometimes a chest there. I opened up a chest and there was this ore. It was a boat ore, and it was magical. And it had an actual, an inscription on it, and I'm like, what is this for? Why do I have this? And I kept it, and I'm like, this is retarded. Yeah. I couldn't use it as a weapon, but it was a boat ore.
Yeah, and there's stuff in there I've come across things where I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to need this or not, so it's sitting in my chest. Because it's maybe I might need it, maybe I don't. Who knows?
Yeah, on hardcore, I found Rakanushu's blade.
Yep.
And there's an achievement for killing somebody with Rakanushu's blade. And I'm like, I don't even know who the guy I have to kill.
Yeah, Bishi Bosch or something like that.
Yeah, and I'm like, who?
And the achievement's called Bashanishu because you hit him with Rakanushu's blade, Bishi Bosch. So yeah, so there's and we've never even run into that boss yet because he's one of those random generated things.
Okay.
Yeah. It's so many, it's way random and the stuff that you kind of get. And like I said, it's a great game. I loved it. I loved that,
It's fun.
I'm like, you just run around, you're like, I'm going to attack monstrous things because, you get to be really powerful.
And honestly, I think one of the things I like about it, because I don't know. Just there's no competition. You know, because now day and age you get video games. You know, everything's about a competition. You know, this that getting a
highest score
or being the best with your kill to death ratio or whatever. And it's this game. It's all about you level up and you get try and get the best equipment for you. But you know, it's cooperative.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons why I like Borderlands so much, because it's not about killing one another or anything. It's about helping one another.
Hey, high score. Did I break it?
Did I break it? What does that mean? Did I break it?
Yeah.
Grandma's boy.
But I don't know. Lately, I've been playing a lot of Halo 4. Dragon Ball Z HD collection. I 1,000 pointed that actually earlier this week. Or was it last week? I don't know. But I played the crap out of that, and I go to WoW every once in a while. But
yeah, I've been playing. I gotta do the new episode. I watched
Spartan
it.
Ops.
I
watched the video, but I haven't played the new ones yet.
Me either. That I play a little WoW, and I'll play a little StarCraft, and I need to get back on playing some more Diablo. I need to get through the first run still. What helper did you have with you? Did you have the?
Well, me and him mostly played together.
Okay.
For a while, I don't know. I haven't really taken a helper because even when I play myself, I just play by myself. I don't take the helper.
I based it on the character. Say you've got a demon hunter, you want to have the paladin because then
goes up close.
He'll run up close and distract them, and then you can shoot them from afar. Because if you got two distant characters, they're gonna come right after you, and you get killed a lot.
If you have the barbarian, use like the enchantress or the
I,
scoundrel.
I use the Templar and just have him heal me.
Well, see, like the scoundrel, he'll get you more gold. Like enemies will drop more gold, or you'll get more gold for killing enemies and stuff like that. The enchantress, she'll protect you a lot more. She'll use a lot of protective skills on you, and the paladin, he's gonna heal you, and he's gonna sacrifice himself instead of he'll make sure the enemy goes for them.
Yeah.
But so it's all about how you play and what you like, is what they're based on.
I just adopted like a 2-man.
What did you go for anyway? What class?
Barbarian.
I'm barbarian.
Barbarian. Okay, that's the first one I went with. Are you doing two-handed weapons or are you dual wielding?
I kind of switch back and forth depending on what I have at the time. I go with I cleave it and then I have my big hit, and then his heal's really good. I like his heal.
So I know we started talking about football earlier, about the Green Bay Packers.
The best team in the world.
Good weekend for football. Obviously, we won against Minnesota.
The Badgers destroyed.
Badgers
70-34. Holy shit!
It was crazy.
I didn't even watch that game. I'm like, you know what? I hope they win, but I'm not really confident what's gonna happen. I looked at the score. And I'm like, Badgers had like almost 600 yards rushing.
Well, I went into Neds to work. And I walk in, and there's a crowd of people just going crazy over the game. And I'm like, wow.
Yeah, they kicked the shit out of them.
And then...
They played Nebraska, right?
Yeah.
And they got Stanford in the Rose Bowl coming up.
Yep.
Did you hear about Bielema?
No.
He's going to Arkansas.
Really?
He might not even coach the Rose Bowl.
Really?
I was talking to Adam at work about that.
That's crazy. I didn't know that.
I was like, that's some bullshit. Like, you could career the rest of your coaching...
Right.
Shit at Wisconsin, just cruise through.
So he's going to the Razorbacks.
Mm-hmm.
Damn.
I don't know any of the specifics. I don't know if he's making more money or why he's going, but I found it to be a little ridiculous.
So yeah, that's crazy. But we've got who do we got next week? We've got
Lions.
Lions next
Sunday night.
Lambeau Field.
It's a late game.
It is late. Are you free that game?
That's my weekend off.
All right, and then. Bears lost this week too.
Fuck yeah, they did.
Is that for somebody who might be listening?
I don't know. The Bears are probably the worst team ever to ever play football.
That's definitely for somebody, but I'm not.
They're not going to name names or point fingers.
No. And then Monday night, Giants lost.
God, man, I gotta say, my team didn't play him very well, but just watch RG3, dude. I think he's the real deal.
Yeah.
He's definitely he was clutch enough to hold him through. And
I hope it's not gonna be like with other rookies where they have this amazing rookie year, and then all of a sudden
Cam Newton
they go into obscurity.
Although did they even win? Did they even have a winning record the year Cam's first year?
He did good though for being a rookie.
He did good, but I don't know. I think stats are one thing, but I think if you can have a team and win, I hold that more over.
I don't know. I kind
stat-wise.
of look at your stats because if you get this amazing rookie quarterback, but he has a crap team, I mean that's not fair to that quarterback.
That's
Because
true.
if he has these amazing breakout stats, but then it's like, oh well, my team sucks.
Redskins weren't amazing though coming in though. I mean,
No, they weren't. I mean, I look at
their running back and their quarterback were really making that. team.
RG3 has broken the rushing yardage for a rookie
He's
quarterback
sick.
by himself.
Yeah, he's sick. He's a sick player.
And it's not even. I mean, what they've got 4 more games yet.
Yeah, I would be. It would be amazing if he had 1,000.
He could easily do it. 300 yards.
Definitely. That shit would be cray.
Something wrong with you.
Don't let me get in my zone. Don't let me get in my zone.
I don't even know, man. Yeah, you got that, and then I don't know. It's just finally we had a week where everybody lost and the Packers won.
Yeah.
Number 1 in the division again. We need to keep it
Well,
this time.
Tied.
We're technically tied,
No.
but we're up 1 because we have more division wins.
Yeah, we're number 1 in the division right now. We win the tiebreaker. We're number 1.
I know, but if you want to, everybody would be like, "Well, we're tied." Yes, we do have the same record, but we're up in the division because we have more division wins.
We beat the Bears. We're number 1. If you were to
He says this with a big old grin.
well, it is what it is, you know.
Church.
Okay, what is that from again?
Exhibit. Don't you... Pimp My Ride. MTV. Exhibit.
Back when they were still showing music videos on MTV and not trash.
Okay, so he goes up to this girl. She's got a Thunderbird.
I think it's a Thunderbird. Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Thunderbird.
And it's an African American woman.
Okay, so he comes up. She literally cannot get into this truck. You know, he's like, okay. Shit. You know, he's like, he comes with his car, and like, she has to, like, she's got a crowbar or something like that.
Yeah.
And she's jamming into the back of this trunk. She's like, literally, she's like, sometimes you gotta jimmy the lock or something like that.
Because the keyhole isn't there anymore. It's just this hole, and you have to, like, jimmy it
So
with
then,
a crowbar.
so then he takes like a screwdriver and he's like, let me take a crack at it. Right? Pops open.
Instantly.
He's like, it is what it is. I'm a Nick. You know, he's like,
And then he's like, it is what it is. Church.
Yeah,
So now anytime somebody says it is what it is, he's got to say church.
I do. I have to. It's. I mean, it is what it is.
Church.
You guys are ridiculous, but it's okay.
So Matt, how's work going for you?
Hey, you know it's a job.
Woodies.
Woodman's. For those of you that don't know, me and Brian used to be former Woodman's employees. Matt still is.
Yep.
He's a trooper.
He's a trooper.
Make
I'm
my
currently
money.
going to NWTC, and Brian is working on a cartoon show.
Worthless pile of garbage.
Shut up.
Wow, that's not nice.
Are you calling us worthless piles of garbage too since we're in it?
No, I'm not saying the show's. Me as a person is a worthless pile of garbage.
No. Honestly, the cartoon is definitely a good direction, and if you stick with it, definitely,
Well, this is how I look at it. You know,
7/10.
it's even if nothing comes of it, it's something for me to enjoy, to express my creativity and stuff like that. Plus, it allows me to get better at using the tools that are available to me. And if I do want to look for a job, and I continue to do this for duration of time, I have something to put into a portfolio to show somebody. Say I have stuff out there. I soul creativity. I'm like, this is me. This is what I do. Everything you're looking at, that's me, except for the voices. Good Lord.
See, you'll put that in a resume.
I'm not that talented.
You'll put that in a resume and you'll be like, here, I made this cartoon, whereas other people will be like, I've got a 2.0 kill to death ratio.
KDs, man. I'll never say it, like,
KEDs.
it's just like,
A kid in emergency deployment.
the only time I ever wrote my KD is just like after a match. Like, did I suck or did I play good? If I'm positive, I'm happy. If I sucked, well, I'm like, wow.
Yeah, I'll check on individual matches, but I'm not like,
Overall.
oh my god, I only have a 1.5. I need to get so much better. Wow, my K today is going to drop because of this game, guys. It sucks. Rah. And, by the way, if you took insult to that, I'm not pointing it at anybody specifically, but if you took insult to that, maybe you need to look at yourself. Just saying.
Okay.
What was that? I didn't quite hear that.
I heard you sounded like you're Batman. Why do you want to kill me? Gargling marbles and shit.
You can sound like Bane.
No,
it sounds like Batman.
No, I'm saying you could. It could be. You could sound
That's
like Bane.
true.
You could try and be a knockoff of.
No, I think Seth's got that one. I don't think I can touch that shit. I don't even think I could do it if I wanted to. How does Bane sound again? Sean Connery minus Sean Connery.
Kind of like like a knockoff of Sean Connery.
Yeah, almost. I'm not gonna do it because I really don't even know how the hell I would.
Yeah, I can't do it worth crap.
No, that's Seth. We'll give Seth that one.
Like I try to do it and I'm like, yeah, I suck.
It's bullshit. I don't know. Just felt like it.
Yeah. You wanna know if he does really good voice imitations? Jordan, other bouncer, and he does his phenomenal imitation of Chopper.
Really?
Yeah. We were talking the other night, and I was like, I said something. Oh no, we were talking about past fights at the bar, and he was talking about where Chopper was dealing with somebody, and then he imitated Chopper's voice. I'm like, you sound like Chopper. Like I thought Chopper was sitting here next to me.
Speaking of him, have you talked to him at all?
I do from time to time. He'll give me a call once in a while, and I'll check up on his Facebook. But yeah, he's doing quite well at his new bar.
No, you don't. Oh, that's good. That's good.
It's like 3 hours up north from here, but.
What did he call? What's it called again?
Fat Boys Inn. Okay, Peter.
Hey, Lois.
Shut up, man.
Diarrhea.
I'm carrying iced tea. It's lemonade.
Matt, shut up.
You shut up.
No, Mikey, it's iced tea.
Oh yeah, we bet. Didn't we have a bet on that shit?
Something like that. My little brother thought she said lemonade.
Mm-hmm.
And
But
so
she did.
But of course, Matt knew that though.
Yeah.
I did.
Because he is Peter.
Shut the fuck up. God damn
You
it.
can't tell me you're not a real life Peter
I'm
Griffin.
not a real life Peter Griffin.
You are a real life Peter Griffin. You're trying to tell me that if you didn't have some sort of an ancient Indian skull, you would not have sex with it and pee into it.
Pee in it and all that good stuff. Or wear it as a protective cuff.
Yeah, I want to skull fuck something. That sounds fun.
I'm not going to go into this. This could be open up a whole barrel of monkeys that I do not want to open up.
It's good. It's good.
The things that you've done.
Shut up.
So, how many monkeys do you get in a barrel of monkeys?
I have no idea. I've played that game. I have not played that game in a minute.
So, sometime during this podcast, you have been playing.
No, it's been a grip since I played it.
It's been a minute.
Yes, it's been a minute.
I don't understand where you're going with this. So, a minute to me is a duration of time, which is 60 seconds. So,
it's been a while.
what? See? Why can't you just say it?
Because it's been a minute.
Because it's been a minute.
Do we need to end this with Roger or
With
over?
Roger. Oh, wait, you gotta tell me you gotta say over anytime my sentence is over? Anytime sentence is what?
Oh, I see the wire. Over. Yes.
That's funny. That's funny.
Yeah, speaking of Family Guy, you guys have you seen any of the newer ones?
What's Family Guy?
What's Family Guy?
What's Family Guy, he says?
The only show I have actually watched is the two shows currently that I have actually watched was South Park.
Mm-hmm.
I watch those on South Park. Or if I do get the chance that I'm home on a Wednesday or whatever, I'll watch it. And Brad Meltzner's on Decoded.
Yes.
The hell's that?
It's an interesting show. Brad Meltzner is this guy. He wrote this book on.
Who's Brad Meltzner?
Okay, he's a writer.
Pay attention. Don't look at me.
He's a writer, and what he does is he looks into
Porn.
yes, lots of porn. Matt, you. Oh, wow. So
You being all like technical, I'm like, yep, porn.
he wrote books on secret societies. Secret societies. We're talking like Illuminati, the Freemasons, these kinds of people. He wrote books on this. And so he's got a show called Decoded, which he's got 3 people on his team. He's got an engineer, he's got a lawyer, and actually a retired Army lawyer, and then he's got a university professor. So 3 people who.
And then he's got the scientist named Bobo.
That's.
Come on, Bobo.
That's
some Bigfoot show, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, did you ever see Beer Fest?
No.
Yeah.
Bobo,
Bobo, the puppet. Yes.
Anyway, so he's got the 3 people, and they go do investigations, and they do things like the Harry Houdini, like they look into the background of like why Harry Houdini died the way he did. They actually one of the recent ones I was excited about was UFOs.
Did do one on
Abraham Lincoln, or John Wilkes Booth.
John Wilkes Booth. They did one.
How John Wilkes Booth
Supposedly lived instead of them actually catching him.
Yeah, it was crazy. If you ever think about it, John Wilkes Booth probably did not die the day that in the barn and wherever fucking town he was in. Like he actually, because like as they talked about it, there's a Union or a Confederate soldier who was commissioned as a spy that matched the description of the guy they pulled out of the barn, and even the name that the guy says. Because like as he's pulling, as they shoot, apparently this guy Booth pull him out of the barn. And the guy who's been with him the entire time is like, I don't even know who that guy is. He says his name is Nate or whatever, something like that.
Yeah.
And it turns out that there was a Confederate soldier named Nate who was captured by the Union and then sent out as spy for the Unions and stuff like that, and was in his barn. And now here's the interesting part. So when it came to the identification of the body, the only people who were able to look at the body were top-ranking military officials. One picture was taken of the body, but it was given directly to the general, general of the state or whatever, the guy who was controlling the army, and nobody knows where that picture went to or whatever. Now, aboard the ship that they were on when his body was looked at, the people on board could have easily identified John Wilkes Booth as being him, but they were never called down. Nobody was told. Like they're just like, oh, this is him. Whatever, we're done, and nobody really cared. So, like, a lot of mystery came into, like, you didn't positively identify the body. His family didn't get to see, didn't get to find out that he's dead, something like that. And, like, and it turns out that they have a femur from the person who was taken, or the person who was killed at the barn.
Right.
There's a femur sitting at a medical hospital. All you have to do is take that.
I thought it was in the Smithsonian.
It was in a VA hospital.
Okay.
And then his brother's buried in a graveyard. You'd have to have it dug up, and then you match the DNA from those two. Either it'll match or it won't. But it's something about
like the judge won't. Like judges won't let it pass.
Yeah, a judge feels that there's not enough evidence to promote it, even though that, like this show, when you're watching it, you almost get to that point where you're like, wow, I really doubt history a lot, from what you're told. And like the whole shows are all about those. Lots of it's like they talk about the cornerstone of the White House. It's crazy. They talk about that cornerstone of the White House is missing. It's not even there. And because like there's lots of stuff like, oh, the cornerstone of the White House might contain like maybe original documents, stuff that was maybe made when the first White House was laid and stuff like that. And they I guess they blame the Freemasons, but then if you think about it, like the Freemasons back then were like, the White House was burned down, we were invaded by the British. They're like, we're going to hide the cornerstone so that even if they did burn it down, destroy the White House, hopefully they won't find it. Because, the cornerstone of the White House is the cornerstone of America. It's, it's a symbol, and that's all that's what America is. America is a giant bunch of symbols. Statue of Liberty, it's a symbol. White House, it's a symbol. All these things. The Clinton Monument. The Washington Monument.
The eagle is it's a symbol.
It's landed.
It's all symbols, and that's what this world is all about. And I love the show. I've actually gotten into it, a lot. And they talked like the recent one was UFOs, and I was like,
are you sure you're not falling in love with that show, Fact or Faked?
I hate that show.
What show?
It's called Fact or Faked. It's almost kind of like that. Like these people will go on to paranormal things with aliens and ghosts and Bigfoots.
No,
and all
see,
this
but
stuff.
you gotta explain that a little bit better. They watch YouTube videos.
Well, I was gonna get to that. Like beforehand, they watch videos either sent in or on YouTube, and they'll be like, and right away they'll decide whether they could possibly be legitimate or they're fake, just by watching the videos.
So they're looking at boobs, whether they're real or fake, right?
They probably would do it.
And then from there, they take, two cases out of, like, these 10 that they watch.
These are way too stiff.
There's not enough bounce in these fuckers.
Out of the 10 that they watch, they'll take 2 that could possibly be real. And then they go out and they're like, nope, we debunked it. This isn't real. There's only been 1, I think, where they're like, we don't know. Otherwise, they're just like, nope, this is fake. Because this is how we faked it.
Wasn't it? It was the
lights one.
The Paulding lights.
Yes.
What?
Okay, Paulding lights. It's this interesting thing. It's this phenomenon. You could go right now. It's actually not that far away. How far away is it?
I can't remember, but it's not that far from here.
It's actually not that far. We could go. You could see this every day at the same time. The Paulding lights will shine.
The hell's a Paulding light?
It's a giant. You stand on this hill and farther down the way, it's this light that just appears. It just comes on, it just appears, and then it just starts shining. And for some reason, it does it every day at the same time. In fact, they actually had military personnel investigate this because it's like clockwork. And nobody's been able to investigate it. And I think it had something to do with, like, where it's located could cause a risk of something. So they had, I think it was like National Guard and investigated it or something, and they still couldn't figure it out.
So anyway, they went out and they're like, oh, well, we'll take this car up onto this road or whatever and try and figure it out. So they're on this car or whatever, and they're like, oh, at first they matched up. They're like, oh, yeah, I can see the lights and the car's on or whatever. So then they're like, oh, okay, well, we went farther up the road and we turned off the lights. And they're like, no, I still see the light. And they're like, well, our lights are off. I'm like, no, we still see the light. So then they're trying to figure it out and they couldn't debunk it. So, like, we don't know what this is. But every other freaking one... Like, there's the first episode they ever did, and I was so excited because he showed me this video. It's of this car being chased by a cop. And, like, they're going all over these backwoods or whatever, and all of a sudden the car turns, make this sharp left turn, and the cop goes to follow, and the cop hits, or pretty much there's a chain link fence, but the car's on the other side of the chain link fence, and it keeps going. So, like, the video is called Ghost Car. So they go out to, like, where kind of the same location, and they take this fence, and they modify the hell out of the fence. Like, they cut a bunch of links that are tying it up, and they're like, oh, yeah, we can do this. We can drive through this fence. And pretty much the way they made it, they modified the fence, so that way they could drive under the fence, and then, like, the chain links would kind of raise up, and then as soon as the car went through it, they would drop back down. But I was like, so you're telling me this guy went out to this fence, messed with it, to the point where he knew he could drive under it, and then was like, someday I'll have an escape route in case I ever get chased by a cop.
Yeah, the whole theory behind... And they debunked it. They were like, no, it's debunked. And I'm like, the premise behind it is the cop get out and inspected the fence, thinking that he, like, ran over the fence, and the fence, like, came back. He's like, no, there was no damage to the fence. The fence wasn't even moving.
No, the fence, like, you watch the cam... The fence isn't moving, and he's like, the fence wasn't messed with. It's not like... Because at first they're like, well, what if it's this device where he popped it under the ground and popped back up, kind of like a Batman thing, where it went down into the ground and then came back up. And he's like, no, this was solid fence. Solid chain link fence that hadn't been messed with. Then they're like, nope, we debunked it. We don't care. And I'm like, we're going to factor that. Like, oh, because you could debunk it a certain way, that's automatically what it was.
Yeah, well, like there's a playground where one swing in the playground swings by itself. They came up with this brilliant idea that this seat is wider than the other one, so that when the wind hits it just perfectly, it swings, right? It swings 24 hours a day. So the wind has to be perfect 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, we debunked it. And I'm like, you people do not know what research is. And they do these crude ass, straight to people's faces, you're a freaking liar, and you freaking know it. I've seen it. Well, okay. The one that I agreed with, this guy claims, this is his story. Literally, it is so freaking psychotically stupid. The guy was out walking with his dog, and his dog, he was out with his dog. They were out in his woods, whatever. All of a sudden, he heard his dog yelping. He goes out and investigates, and apparently there's this alien, right? Has his dog, rips it mouth, and just rips it straight in half, and the dog, like, almost just disintegrates. Okay? Now, when I first heard the story, and I'm like, wow, that is really crazy. That's a creepy story. What happened to, this man must be really upset over this dog, right? So this man, apparently, in this fit of rage over seeing this thing take out its dog. Now, any being that can rip a dog in half, kind of like a phone book, kind of reminds me of something super powered, whatever. He knocks it out with a branch. and this alien is out like cold dead. What the fuck? Not a branch, it's my kryptonite.
Right? Yeah. But there's just so many of them. Like, there's one where
That's funny.
there's this couple in Florida that they're legitimately concerned because this guy, he has a real low tech camera. Like, not even, it's like even worse than what we've got. And like, he's got this video of like this, almost looks like a child entering their room from the bathroom. And he's like, we don't have children. So, like, you could see this figure stepping into their bedroom that looks like a child. And so they're like, well, we'll pass on it, whatever. And then eventually there's a second one of, like, the thing floating in that, like, it's the same thing. It's like this figure of, like, a child.
My favorite thing about that, I've rewatched it. Like, I watched it because, oh my god, it's an alien floating in the room, right? And I rewatch it, and it's light. Like, they've got this coat rack kind of in the stuff, and, like, when the light kind of passes through it, it almost looks like an alien floating.
Which I can understand for that one, but then they didn't go back to the first one.
Yeah, the first one was crazy, because it was just like, they're well, did they have, like, was it static cam or something?
Something like that.
I'm going to have to rewatch it.
Yeah, but it's just like, you see this, and it's only, like, a couple of frames or whatever, because it's a real, like I said, it's a real crappy camera, but you see this figure of a short person, whether it's a child or whatever, walks into their bedroom, and you can see it clearly step in, and they didn't even cover that one. They're just like, oh, we'll cover the second video, but we won't cover the first one, and they're pretty much like, oh, you're liars, because it's your coat rack. Well, it wasn't a coat rack walking in the first one, I'm sorry to tell you.
The Nightcrawler one.
That one's freaky as hell.
Is that when they could
Have you ever seen that?
What?
The Nightcrawler?
No.
Here, I'll
Pull that up for them.
Get you a video. Yeah, the Nightcrawler one is just like, this was another one out in California. It was an actual Mexican family that's kind of, in California and especially in like Florida areas, Mexican families are called ATMs. And the reason that they're called ATMs is because when they go to work, they get nothing but cash. So while they're walking out, they're walking banks.
Yep.
You're going to rob a Mexican because you know that that's all he's got on him. I mean, how many times have you seen a Mexican family come to Woodman's and that's all they pull out is $100 bills? They don't use banks. They don't use that stuff, so they're really susceptible. So this family set up these outside cameras because they kept on, people were kind of harassing them and probably breaking into their properties and stuff. So they set up these outside cameras. And this night vision thing captured this thing. They've got
2 of them.
They've got a fence. Maybe that big. And this thing literally walks right through the fence. And it's like this short little thing, and it's like got this white cape stuff. It's unbelievably crazy.
But there's 2 of them that do it, because there's one that kind of like does this kind of walk, like you would think. No, I'm serious. Like if it had arms, it would kind of, you would think it was walking like this. And then the next one, it just kind of does like this regular walk. And I was like, this is creepy as hell. And it pretty much, it looks like, the best way to describe it is like a head with 2 legs that come off of it. And it's freaky as hell. And, like, they tried debunking that. That was another one. One of the ones that they couldn't. But there's one that also pissed me off where there was this couple walking along the river, and I want to say it was in Seattle. And they all of a sudden they see these lights that are floating around the river, and it's multicolored lights. And it's floating around the river, it's up in the sky, it's down by the water and all this stuff. And they're, they got it on camera, and they're kind of freaked out by it. And they're like, I don't know, it was a good size or whatever, and they just come out and they're like, oh, okay, well, we've got this model airplane, and we tethered LEDs to it. And they're like, that's what it is.
There's an advertisement. I can skip it.
So I was like, you guys just pit. Like, eventually it got to the point we'd be watching episodes, and we would just be like, this is bullshit. This pisses me off. Yeah, check this out.
Alright, a Nightcrawler, a
species of alien, question mark. But,
that thing?
Yeah, yep. It's that. Like, watch. So that's it right there. That's the first one. and then it just kind of disappears. Like it
Does it
get
have
close.
a cape on?
Yeah, it looks like it, doesn't it?
Eh.
And then another one comes in and does this weird walk. It's like at the same part in the fence. And it just comes through and does like this weird walk.
It's really fucking weird looking.
Yeah.
Now, this would be the next thing. Like, think about you're the family that lives in that
It
house.
almost looks like a little kid with a blanket on.
Doesn't it?
But it couldn't be because it's like I said, it's like a head with legs. There's no body to it. There's no arms.
Yeah, it's really skinny, really, there's not a lot to it. And the crazy part, think about the family that lives there that recorded this. He's like probably scared, like, what is this? Please, somebody tell me.
Yeah, because their fence, like he was saying, is extremely skinny. And that, like, it's almost impossible for anything to get through.
Where's the fence in this building?
It's in the background here.
Oh, that's the fence? And this is the thing, that thing went through the fence and
Yeah, it goes through the fence and then just walks up towards the house.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I mean, like I said, a lot of stuff you see, is it real or is it a hoax? Like...
That's a damn good hoax because I don't know how you could do it.
Well, even then, like, they tried to reduplicate this. They used a
They used
puppeteer.
puppets.
They used digital effects, and they could not get it to look like that. They could not get anything impressive to do what they did. And it was one of those things, like, it's a pretty scary situation, like, when the family is concerned, they're like, we want to know what it is, because that thing's coming towards our house.
Yeah.
Oh, if it's just a ball of legs, kick it.
Well, but
you don't know what it is. That thing, you can kick it and you can instantly disintegrate.
or you're
Throw a rock at it.
You're not outside the realms of like this is like what fantasy, science fiction kind
That's
of
crazy.
stuff.
Yeah.
And I mean I love watching this kinds of stuff because it's kind of fun to see. This, like the reason I like the show is because it's investigative. I'm watching D-Bags investigate stuff, and then I'm going a completely different route because I want to see where they get to and where I get to the same conclusion, watching the same investigative strategy that they do. Obviously they go really over the top, and I'm like...
And see, like, we've watched some shows. Like, we've watched Ghost Hunters, we've watched Ghost Adventures, we've watched other shows. We've even done stuff where we go on YouTube and we're like, we'll watch videos. And we'll be skeptical of things. But they're to the point of, like, unless we prove that it's real, it is fake.
Oh, you remember the cabinet door one?
Yeah.
They disproved that one.
Did they?
Yeah, they didn't even, like, they watched the video and then they were like, no, there's this point in time when it's like, no, they cut it.
That one with the girl, right?
Yeah,
I remember that.
They said that they cut it. Now, don't you remember, they opened up the door, right? Could you fit a woman on the other side of that glass?
Did you ever see that video?
The cabinet door where the at midnight or whatever, the cabinet door opens and then, like, they go to the point where there's a girl on the other side and, like, she kind of, like, zooms in and, like, her hair's all, like, wavy and all over the place, and I'm like...
So there's, just to kind of break it down, there's a video of this guy who's in a house, and he's like, I'm haunted. And he pretty much set up the tripod, and he'd set it up, and, like, the pantry door would swing open, okay? And it's got kind of, like, shelves with our things here, where it's like, the shelves are right against the door, and there's barely any space in there. It's just a pantry for food and stuff.
Yeah.
So then he'd go and close it, right? And then it would come kind of like swing open again. So he'd close it again. He took the camera off the tripod and gets real close. And all of a sudden, as he gets towards the door, there's a figure of a woman with her hands against the door because it's glass.
Right.
So her hands are on the glass, and then her face is there. So you can see it. But when you open the door, there's no fucking way to have a woman inside there. So he does like 3, 4, 5 different ones, and people are like, oh, it's fake. So finally, he got to the point, he's like, anybody can come to my house. He's like, get a hold of me, I'll give you my address.
Yeah, because there was another one where he's like, okay, so I didn't believe it, so he's like, I had to come down and I had to see it. So then he comes down and he shows you, because like there's like hundreds of these videos of this same pantry door that has this weird paranormal, phenomenon.
And so yeah, there's another one. These 2 guys come in because the guy had moved out at this point, but he hadn't sold the house. And he's like, yeah, come in. So these 2 guys come in that don't know the guy, whatever. They just pretty much, we don't believe it. And they come in. The pantry's empty at this point because obviously he's moved out. And they've got the camera set up, and the door opens, and there's this empty pantry. So they close it again, and the one guy has a camera, and the other one.
Yeah, the other one, like, he sees the hands, right, and he goes up there to try to put his hands on it, and then the face comes out, and then she goes away, and I'm like,
Yeah, it freaks me. Even talking about it, I had goosebumps. So, yeah.
You do.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
And
oh my god, there's paranormal activity going on.
Yeah, I got goosebumps. Oh my god, I'm getting hit so bad. Wait, I gotta do the O face.
Shit.
But, so then on this Fact or Fake show, immediately they watch the video and they're like, nope, faked. And they just watch one version of it and they're like, nope, this is fake.
Yeah, and they did like they did a Bigfoot one, and it was like the most retarded Bigfoot one ever. Like, really? Reduplicate the Patterson video.
Yeah, nobody can do it.
To this day.
Nobody can do it.
Yeah, like, it's funny. You know, Patterson video, they're like, oh, it's fake, right? People just claim it off as being fake. There's a man, since the Patterson video came out, since the 40s, has spent, I mean, this man has a lot of money. He has probably way more money than normal people should have. He's been trying to debunk the Patterson video since the 40s.
Yeah, that he's just spent his life trying to debunk it.
He has yet to do it. I mean, you know, granted, like I said, you know, a large primate monkey that fits on the other side of the evolutionary chain. You know, like, humans went one way, and then this apparently was the monkey that went the other way, that stayed monkey, but kept the monkey traits more than the human traits, and then we kept the human, or I don't know how I want to put it, but something about
nice
something about, like, you know, mammal, or like monkeys became aquatic animals. Like, we lived near lakes and things to kind of stay away from some predators or whatever. So we became water mammals. That's why we lost all of our hair. That's why we became more like humans and less like monkeys, or something like along those chains of whatever.
I'm pretty hairy.
And then, well, are you swimming in water constantly?
I would if I could.
But that's why I got a waterbed at home.
I get all flowy and
but,
shit.
you know, this is the monkey on the other side, right? And people are like, where the hell is this thing going to sing? And I'm like, Canada's got a lot of woods, you know? I mean, there's places for this thing to hide, but...
Well, and we've even talked about it. I'm like, there are places, even in Wisconsin, that have never... that are uncharted. I mean, look at I know the movie ended up being fake, but look at Blair Witch Project. They're in New York, a state that has a lot of people, but they get lost in the woods in New York. You know, so you take a state like Wisconsin where, yeah, we have some big cities, but there's a lot of woods where people, even that live around here, get lost. What do you think a creature like that could be like, oh, I'm going to, you know, live in this wooded area where nobody's going to find me. And look at the swamps in Florida. Most of those are uncharted. There's place, yeah, the Everglades, people, so there's a lot of them that humans never even set foot in.
Yeah. Yeah, so the possibility isn't like, you know, there's no possible way or something like that, and it's, you've got to leave some sort of skepticism.
Oh yeah, you got to be skeptical about certain things
because the large amount of people that have seen a Bigfoot, there's got to be a percentage of them people who aren't fucking ape shit fucking crazy.
Or even I think that one of the guy that looked like Bigfoot himself,
he was fucking crazy. But then again, he could have fucking seen a Bigfoot. Where he lives, good lord, Bigfoot probably lives with him.
Right? Because it was this video, I remember it was on like MSN videos or whatever, and it was this backwater country guy that's like, hillbilly, his hair's never been combed, he's got no teeth, you know, or he's got the one good tooth. And he's like, I done did saw the Bigfoot coming out the woods there. And Brian, of course, is like, yeah, it was probably his wife.
But yeah, it was just one of those situations, like, he probably has, because he is so out of touch with everything else that probably that situation. It's just like this. When Brad Meltzer did the UFO episode, he's like, 75% of the population in this world has either seen a UFO or knows somebody who has. That is a large amount of people in this world who have seen something out of the ordinary and stuff like that. And this is interesting. So an astronaut says every time Hubble takes a picture of the atmosphere of the universe, one picture is 100 trillion stars. So take 100 trillion and say that the chances of a planet like Earth, having that ability, to have the right conditions, the right dials, to have a planet in just one of those solar systems is 1 trillion to 1. You've still got at least 100 chances of guaranteed chances of at least 100 planets out there having life on them. Maybe not intelligent, maybe bacteria, something like that. So then it goes from that, and he brings up a lot of good points, and it's crazy the kinds of stuff that happens. People who have been around, like, they talk about Area 51 a lot, because Area 51 is where all these top secret CIA spy planes and crap comes from. A man who was a part of these projects and worked near Area 51, he started a company. Now this guy is quite interesting. He's got every certificate that can ever be earned in the FAA's certificate book. He earned every one of them. He's a pilot. He owns his own company.
Achievement master.
He owns a company. He owns a company that builds jets. I mean, the man knows airplanes when he's seen him.
Mm-hmm.
And so once he was done with his company, he started up another company. After working at Area 51, he started up a company called Motorola. Now this is back when they didn't even have color TVs. He successfully made the communications available for astronauts to be on the moon to communicate with Earth. Now this is technology right after the Roswell incident. Also came out of this situation was an advanced polymer. I've never heard of this polymer before because not a lot of people are supposed to know about it. It's a polymer that is like 3 times lighter than air, can hold up to 400 times its own weight, and has a melting point of 4,000 degrees Fahrenheit.
Damn.
This stuff comes around right after an instance like a space crash hits Earth and the government covers it up. Why would they do something like that? Duh, we're in the middle of a Cold War.
Right.
You really want this kind of, like, if you open this kind of information to the public, who's going to know about it? Everybody. Who's going to be wanting information, knowing about this? The Russians. Because, we're in a modern day warfare. Now, here's the best one. Stephen Hawking, the crippled wheelchair dude who talks like a robot. Now, he brought up the best point in the world. People are concerned about why haven't they made contact with us? Think about this one. When Christopher Columbus came over and he met with the first natives of the Costa Rica, or like the Cuba, somewhere in there. Somewhere down there. He literally enslaved the entire race. Took over their entire group, enslaved them, made them work and dig up gold for him so he could bring it back. Now, maybe our first contact might be something that we might not really want, because we don't know what their intents could be. We don't know what they might want, and they're foreign people. They might have superpowers, and we don't know exactly how they're going to react or how we will react to that same situation. So even though that it could be a peaceful negotiation, they could sit down. We could start opening fire and cause an intergalactic war between some other race and stuff like that. That's why it's like the first contact is almost one of the scariest things that could ever possibly happen to the human race. And a lot of times, if you were an alien, would you come to this goddamn planet? Butch is talking about buying a gun at the beginning of this.
And now I definitely know I'm not sleeping tonight.
Clack, clack, clackety, clack.
We were talking about ghosts and aliens and shit. Nope, not sleeping. Next thing you know, I'm going to see a white owl on my balcony.
I was going to say that. See, that's the other thing. Gnome. Oh my God, watching the Fourth Kind scared the hell out of me.
You want a movie that'll scare the piss out of you? Watch The Fourth Kind.
And it's not, okay. Let's do the fuck was it called? Paranormal Activity.
Yeah.
Great movie until I realized it was fake. I stopped watching. They're like, oh, have you seen 2, 3, 4, 9, 12? I don't know. No, I stopped watching as soon as I
Ryan was like, oh, have you seen it? I was like, no, I watched 1, and I thought it was cool because I thought it was real. As soon as I found out it was fake, no, fuck that, don't care.
Yeah. As soon as it lost all of it, because I'm watching this, I'm like, oh my God. It's a scary movie. It had me think I found out it was fake during the Ouija board scene.
Yeah.
When the Ouija board started moving, and I'm like, that's animated. And I'm like, flip a table, and I'm like, fuck this shit. You know, and I watched the rest of it, and it was, oh my god, it was creepy though. And I think one of my best parts, I was impressed by the special effects.
Yeah, the fact that like he put the powder down, and all of a sudden there's
footprints started coming up.
Footprints in the powder, and I'm like, damn, like I'm getting goosebumps again.
It's tight. But
then you find out it's fake, and I was like, oh, whatever.
Yeah, I was like, this is retarded. Now the fourth kind came out, right? And I'm watching this with skepticism, watching this, and then the more you watch, and I'm like, you have to be fucking shitting me.
Because what they do is they have the film, because they have Mila Jovovich and a few other actors that they play the movie, but then at the same time they show footage that actually happened, like dash cams from a cop, or like when she would record sessions. You know, they use their
yeah, because a lot of times the video would get distorted. Like, you're not going to show, like, oh, this is my movie, and then the original footage gets distorted. Like, there's a scene, literally, she's trying to put this guy under hypnosis. Like, he was just recently abducted. Like, he's got marks. He's, like, freaking out. So she tries to calm him down to find out what happened and put him under. He flips out, starts floating in his bed, right? The man's jaw literally, like...
It dislocates. It opens farther than any human's jaw can. Like, this is real footage. This isn't the movie. This is home video she taped. And his jaw opens wider and dislocates than any way, shape, or form a human face should be.
And he starts screaming. Like, literally, like, this unnatural sound starts coming from him. And I'm like... what the and then the whole camera starts getting distorted and shit, and as soon as he's done, he lays flat down, paralyzed for the rest of his life.
Yep. It broke his back in so many different places.
She had the same thing happen to her.
She did it to herself.
Well, actually, the other doctor.
Yeah, the other doctor did, but she voluntarily was like, I will do it too, because she had thought she was abducted.
And then she started communicating with somebody outside of this world. She started speaking Sumerian.
Which is a dead language that very few people know, and the ones that do don't even know the whole language.
Yeah,
well, yeah, that's from the Fertile Crescent. That's the beginning of...
There's a guy there. There's a guy sitting next to her. She called him because her husband wrote his name down because he even started noticing people talking in a language that he did not understand. And he went through so many different texts and dialogues and stuff and found this one guy. He works for some university, and he's like, I'm one of the very few people who can barely translate the Sumatran language, and so it's like, what? Best part, she actually has a a voice recorder. You know, like she was sitting in bed and she was doing voice recordings or whatever. And she fell asleep, left the voice recorder on, right? And in this thing, you can hear her snoring. She's sleeping, right?
And this is the actual audio. This isn't from the movie.
Real audio. The door creeps open.
You can hear it creak open,
and then like she's like. So something something grabs her, and literally she's like screaming at the top of her lungs, and then something else is like, something else in the room is screaming at her in a like foreign language with this really distorted voice, and I'm like, holy fuck.
So as she's screaming and this thing's screaming, you can hear the sheet flapping. Yeah, like she's kicking at him or throwing him, and this thing, whatever it is.
So she took.
But she has no recollection of this either. That next morning,
she doesn't even remember it happened. Like she took her thing and like, oh, can you make notes of this? And then the lady comes back, you need to hear this.
And she's like, I never want to do this for you ever again.
Yeah, and she's like, I quit. Deuces. I mean, it got so crazy in the situation that like she played it for him, and he's like, and like, okay, so she's got her mentor, like he's a therapist or psychologist or whatever, and he's sitting there, she's sitting there, and then the doctor, the specialist of the language is sitting here. He's like, no doubt, he's like, I don't know what happened, but somebody in your room that night was speaking in a language that does not exist.
He's like, yeah, it's creepy.
He could not even translate. He couldn't translate everything that was said in that day. And I'm like, somebody in Nome, Alaska is speaking fluent Sumerian. Holy shit. Now, the best scene out of
Shit has hit the fan.
best scene out of the whole movie is the cop dash cam.
Yes.
Now,
this is at the beginning. She first puts.
No.
Oh, you're talking that one?
The last
Well, I'm going to talk about the other one real quick. Then you can talk about that one. There's at the very beginning, she does one guy that she puts him under hypnosis, whatever. But he doesn't freak out and float in his mouth, whatever. He just kind of gets upset and he starts tearing up her room, whatever. And then she brings him out and he starts remembering. He starts to remember all the things that happened. And so he goes home, and then she ends up getting the phone call like he freaked out. Like he's at home, he's holding his wife and his kids by gunpoint. So, like, she ends up going to the house. She has the expert with her. She's got, all these people are with. Because the guy...
She didn't have the expert with
Not yet. I thought she did because, like, he utters a word.
They don't translate it.
That's right, because I thought he's like, oh, I can't translate it.
No, it's just her.
Okay. Well, anyway, the doctor ends up with the word and he can't translate it either. So, the guy ends up with the family and she's there. And it shows the actual police dash cam of this guy freaking out. And he's like, I want to know what this word means. And they won't get out of my head and all this stuff. And he's freaking out. And he's like, I have to protect them. And it just can't happen, right? So they're trying to talk him out of it. Eventually he gets to the point, shoots his wife, shoots both of his kids, shoots himself. And you see this all happen on a police dash cam. I'm like, God damn.
Something this man remembered. And, like, even he was speaking Sumatran, too.
Yeah.
And it's just like, so this town is entirely affected with something ancient. I mean, you're talking fucking the first civilization almost on this planet. I mean, somebody in Nome, Alaska, you can't even get to this town by a road. Well, maybe you can. I think there's a highway that leads through Maine, Alaska, whatever, that you might be able to get to this. But usually it's an airplane to get in and out of plenty of places in this thing. Some whole bunk place and shit tons of people knew fucking an ancient language that not even a professor who studied it his whole life knows. Like, so far out of the realms of possibilities.
And they're speaking it fluently. Like, it's their first language.
Yeah. And this is my favorite. The last dash cam ever seen in this movie. Now, her daughter goes missing. No, her daughter's still there.
She's still there, and they're put under house. Well, she's put under house arrest. Because the idiot cop, the guy's a fucking jerk off, thinks that she's involved with all these problems, with all these people going missing. Like
she's making them kill themselves or kill them families. Like she's corrupting them or destroying their
with the hypnosis.
Yeah.
And this guy's a fucking moron.
And so, a cop is set outside.
Watching her house.
So he's parked, his dash cam is sitting facing the house, right? And he's sitting there, normal day, whatever. All of a sudden you see this thing, right? You see her house, and you can see the skyline. All of a sudden this huge thing is blacking out the sky, right? Whole camera goes black, but you can still hear the cop's audio. He's like, oh my God, they're taking them. He's screaming this.
Yes, he's screaming it into his radio.
There's a light coming out and they're taking them. Like, flipping the fuck out. The sheriff shows up and he's like, you're just making it all up.
To his own officer.
You don't know what you saw, blah, 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 blah.
And so they think the mother kidnapped her, and the mother's like, I've been here the whole time. Where do I have her?
Yeah, like, she was under house arrest and her daughter just disappears. Like, he's like, where is she? You need to tell me where she is. Like, what part of this you not understand? There's more people who disappear from Nome, Alaska than anywhere in the world. The FBI visits Nome, Alaska 7 times more than Anchorage, which has a
way bigger population.
A shit ton bigger population than Nome, Alaska. Like, people just disappear in Nome, Alaska. Apparently they're out wandering and they just disappear.
And they all speak Sumatran to one another.
It was one of those movies that I literally was like, it's literally like, what do you do? Because
you're defenseless.
Well, yeah, I mean, these beings or whatever, as they show, like in her last video, because she was a fully able-bodied person. Like after what happened at the end, she was permanently disabled. Like she got crippled by her.
She had her.
She actually got to speak to them
because she was trying to find her daughter.
She was like, "I want my daughter back, and I'll do anything I can to get it." And like they're like, "No, I am God." Like, shit. So yeah,
she ends up disabled in this weird device, and like you see her, like you see her in her actual videos, and she looks like a healthy, normal woman all this, and then you actually, because the guy that made the movie interviewed her at the end, after the movie's all over, it switches back to him interviewing her, and she looks so ragged and worn out. And
yeah, it was so funny. The first time I saw her, I was like, she's the alien.
Yeah, I didn't think about it, but
That's funny.
but it was just that has been the only movie besides Paranormal Activity, and then I found out it was fake. It's been the only movie that to this day creeps me the fuck out. Like, I can watch a creepy movie and I'm like, okay, whatever. To this day, I still check my balcony because the whole premise behind it is these people that are getting abducted by aliens believe they have this dream of a white owl. So to this day, I still look at my balcony at night like, okay, there's no fucking white owl. And so now, like, I won't even sleep tonight.
Like I said, once you get to the fact, it doesn't matter. You won't remember anyway because the brain deals with situations like that. We suppress those kinds of memories and ideas. And so, even if it does happen, say aliens are coming down, they're abducting us, and they're doing fucked up shit to us, we'll never know. You'll never know. You'll never, even if it did happen, you won't remember. So, there's no sense of fighting it. It is a scary moment, and especially, you don't want it to happen. And, it's one of those things like, what do I do? What can I do? There's nothing you can do. You can't stop something that if it's an advanced technology, advanced beings that they've been doing this for how long? They're never going to be, you're never going to stop them. But, you're just going to have to live your life, I guess.
So, yeah, now that I've thoroughly crapped my pants again, and, this has been going on for quite a while, and I'm sure you're pretty spooked out.
No, Matt's never spooked out.
Yeah.
And, you want to anything real quick before we wrap up?
Boogly boogly.
We always get on our paranormal activity talks.
Yep, yeah, you do.
I do. I mean,
Well, that's because, it's kind of one of our things. But, I don't know. Kind of went off on a tangent. I started talking about TV shows and we ended up there. So, hopefully next time we won't end up quite so much there. Brian, anything you want to add before we wrap up?
Favorite ice cream, Matt.
Blue Moon.
I love Blue Moon. Just because it's like cotton candy almost.
When I was a kid and I used to go to my grandma's house, rest her soul, me and my mom would walk to Hanson's that was right by our house. We always got Blue Moon. So not only do I buy it once in a great while, I don't really eat it much anymore.
Is
But
Hanson's still around? Like, you can still go there?
I haven't been there since I was a kid. If I buy it, I just buy it at work. Buy some Blue Moon.
Yeah, but it's not the same, is it?
Yeah, it's Blue Moon.
Because I think Cold Stone has Blue Moon, don't they?
Yeah, I don't eat very much anymore. But yeah, if I had to say a favorite, it would probably be that one.
Butch?
Good question.
Chocolate?
I don't know. That's a good question. Like, just to get it in the store, I'd have to say that I'm getting a text message. That's what I'd have to
That's
say.
the best kind of ice cream ever. Text message cream.
Probably peanut butter cup. But since we were talking about Cold Stone Creamery, they're
Peanut butter cups. Have some yogurt cups.
I'm gonna punch you in your bull chin. I'd have to say cheesecake ice cream from Cold Stone is amazing.
The Pie Who Loved Me?
Yeah, the Pie Who Loved Me is so
Makes
good.
him cheese his pants.
You know what, Matt? You need to shut up before I punch you in your pants.
Yeah, I do.
Pants.
I like Blue Moon. I do.
I do.
I'm a pretty big fan of Blue Moon. I mean, like if I get like anything specialty, I'll get like a turtle.
Turtle.
I like the mixture.
Turtle Club. Turtle.
You get some nuts like Matt likes, and then you get some
Shut up, bitch.
some caramel
I'll
and
stab
some
your
fudge.
ass.
So anyway, I want to real quick. The reason I segued to TV shows was because I'd been watching American Dad and South Park and stuff, but there was an American Dad episode because we all know that Matt G here is in love with Vin Diesel.
Oh. No,
And-
I like the fucking movies, and we had the one night where I was stupid, And now all of a sudden I'm the biggest Vin Diesel fan.
Matt's in love with Vin Diesel, and there's an episode of American Dad where they make fun of the Fast and Furious movies.
It was funny, and I was only pointing out to you because I thought it was funny.
You did, and it was a good episode.
It was funny as shit.
Because they have like Paul Walker
making out in midair.
Yeah, and then he bends him over in like the garage and stuff.
That was kind of weird. That's kind of weird. That part was kind of odd.
It's like a Matt G dream come true.
I want to stab you right now.
No, you don't.
Stab you right in the face.
No, you don't.
You're a dick.
You love me.
So if you're segwaying, you know, like, is that fast or is that slow? I mean, what? How fast do those things even go?
I'm not even talking about the segways that you ride.
Well, you know, they had that movie with the mall cop thing. Where
Paul Blart.
Yeah, you drove one.
Woo!
Whee!
But yeah, we should probably wrap this up because it's probably going on like 2 hours.
Right now it's an hour and 50 minutes.
So do you want to do another 10 minutes before we wrap up, or should we do it now?
Yeah, we can wait a little bit.
Okay, do it 2 hours even. And...
So if you're still listening, congratulations.
Yeah, welcome.
This is the last 10 minutes, brought to you by beer. It keeps everything interesting, motherfucker.
But Matt, you're the only one drinking it.
Right.
That's all that matters.
And I think you've actually been the quietest during most of
Right, because
this.
he's talking about, we've been talking about scary movies.
Yeah, you guys talk about shit I don't even really pay much attention to.
Well, that, and I think me and Butch are kind of like stealing the spotlight. I don't think we even gave you a chance to talk.
Yeah, do you want to tell any stories? Oh wait, there was a story I was supposed to tell. I was gonna save it.
That's what I get. I start opening my mouth, and Butch is like, I'm very loud.
What was that?
Matt, with my brother, Mikey.
Oh, the X-Lax?
The X-Lax, because we were talking about how my little brother's a little shit. Always has been, always will be. And he constantly gets himself into trouble, and he never listens to authority. And so one day, I just got tired of him, and I had, some X-Lax that were the chocolate bars. And I got rid of the X-Lax part, so he couldn't tell, but it was still in the foil. And he's like, oh, I want some chocolate. And I was like, oh, yeah, it's this German chocolate or Swedish chocolate that's really expensive. And you eat it one little bar at a time or whatever. So I broke off a piece, and he ate it. And they're not very big. They're tiny bars. And he's like, oh, that was good. Can I get another one? And I'm like, I shouldn't do this. But I did it. I broke up another piece, gave it to him. About a half hour later, crapping his guts out, like, what was that? What did you give me? And I'm like, yeah, take that, you little dick. So anyway, go back to your story.
You got a story?
Hold on. Let me think. Just making sure.
Go ahead. I'm just, thanks for that story.
Well,
it was juicy and deep and straight to the point. A story. Holy shit. Stories are good things to tell people,
But I figured you'd have the drunken adventures of Matt G and the Miller High Life. See, now you're dropping.
Don't worry. If they're empty and just sitting there, they're empty. Except for this one, because it's still in my hand. Drunken Adventures of Matt G.
The Miller High Life.
And the Miller High Life.
Because Matt loves Miller High Life, champagne and beer.
I haven't even really drank that in a while.
I know you haven't. You've been drinking Miller Lite, right?
Yep, gotta watch my girlish figure that I have.
I have more respect. Your man card is now back now that you're drinking Miller Lite. The High Life is a woman beer. I don't care what anybody says. It was made for women.
It was made for women. That's why there's a clear glass. But I think what happened was, even though they marketed towards them, Miller High Life went towards the dudes, and Miller Lite went towards the women. It doesn't,
I've never seen a woman drink Miller Lite. I've seen more women drink Miller High Life.
Hey, Matt's deodorant is pH balanced for a man.
But it's strong enough for a woman. By the way, when you leave, don't forget to grab your purse. You left it here last time.
Oh, you're a bitch.
You got 7 minutes, man.
Huh?
Story.
I have 7 minutes?
To tell a story.
Wow. Shit. I haven't. Let's see. Lately, I really haven't had any good shit to talk about.
It doesn't have to be lately. It could have been 3 years in the past.
Time machine. Well, let's get my DeLorean for a second and let me.
You actually remembered it this time.
What?
Because in our Christmas video, you what did you say? I can't remember.
I was in the Christmas video.
Or not Christmas. It's Thanksgiving one. Because I said no, it'd be more like hopping DeLorean. You said something else.
Oh yeah, Yellow Brick Road or something.
Yeah, let's go down the Yellow Brick Road.
It was one of those awesome analogies that made no fucking sense.
Because you were probably drunk.
No, not for that one. We were just talking. Let's see.
Let's get in the time machine.
Well, beer pong's always a fun thing that I did when I drink those beverages.
Those beverages.
Remember one time this is back when we used to party at my friend Adam's house, and it's like he had this big ass, like, it wasn't even just a ping pong table. It was like the fuck, like, no, it was a ping pong. Yeah, it was a ping pong table, and we would play. We all set it up, and like, it's like tons of people down here. And, you know, I'm very arrogant and cocky when I play beer pong.
Yeah, you are.
I think I could do everything.
No way.
I know. What am I talking about?
He is like the best / worst beer pong partners ever.
I either dominate or I suck balls. But anyway, it's like last cup, and I'm just like, just say the table's like on the far right hand side of it, and I just, for some reason, I just like, you know what? I don't even care. I just walk by. I'm walking by. I throw it while I'm walking by, and it just goes swoosh in. And I'm walking. I'm like walking, throw, keep walking. It goes in. Everybody's like, it's like, oh! And I'm like, yeah, bitches.
No. The way it would have been better is like as you're walking away, you put on sunglasses and you just keep walking. Don't even say anything. Don't even react to their cheers. You just keep walking.
Just leave.
What is it, like fucking Horatio?
You're right. Wow!
Oh man.
Like those epic explosions, you know, like the good guy never looks at him. He just they happen and he walks away. Like
You ever had glass nickel pizza before?
No.
Glass nickel, they're all right.
Well, I don't care if it's good or not. I'm just asking if you ever had it because they're expensive, you know.
Yeah.
Well, my friend Adam again at a party. He ordered glass nickel. He was hungry. He's like, I'm gonna get glass nickel pizza. He's like, here, man, just watch this for me. I'll be right back. So I had a piece or two, you know. I'm like, no, fuck it, he's gonna leave by me. And then like people start walking by. Hey, I'll give you $1 for a piece of that. And I'm just sitting there. I'm like, all right. So I'm like, I sold off his entire pizza. I made like a little bit of money, and I don't think I ever gave him the money either. I think I just kept the money.
You're such a dick.
I kept the money. I
think first off, like if that ever happened with me, I think Brian first off would know not to send the pizza by me. Watch his pizza for me. You got it, Brian. I'll watch it for you.
I'll watch it tomorrow too after I shit it out. But yeah, like he never really got pissed about it, which is the only reason the story's funny, because it's just like I sold off. I think he was kind of like, you know, just mad about it. But I'm just like, meh.
I think the funniest story I have to say with Matt was the night we walked out of Stadium View. And he was so drunk that he started pissing on the electrical box. And me and Brian are like, Matt, first off, your dick is aimed at the road. So if a cop shows up, you're fucked. Second off, you're peeing on an electrical box.
Yeah, you walk by it and you can hear this ominous hum. That's pure electricity flowing through that device. Not like a little bit of
I don't
electricity.
remember doing this, to be honest with you. I don't remember.
This is like, you piss on it, it's going to shoot you towards the state. You're going to be sitting back down in the bar.
And the messed up part was, it's not like, and Matt doesn't like, oh, I piss and I piss for 10 seconds. Matt, for whatever reason, even though he just pissed 5 minutes ago, he has to piss for 2 straight minutes because he's a goddamn camel.
That's the truth, though, man. I could drink, and then an hour later, where'd Matt go? I get back, I just feel
and
the
then
Great
after
Lakes.
that, like, you break the seal, but then every 5 minutes you have to piss. But you piss for 2 and like at first, like when we first started hanging out, I'm like, what the hell happened to him? Is he okay? And now it gets to the point I'm like, oh, Matt's been gone for 3 minutes. He's taking a piss. Like, you take longer than a woman. It's ridiculous.
I hold a lot of water.
The human body was an invention made by water to transport itself from place to place.
Well, I understand that, but I'm just saying, when you go take a piss, you piss, 30 seconds, 50 seconds, maybe a minute, and you're done, and then you're especially when you're drinking, like me. If I'm drinking, I break the seal. Okay, I piss. 10 minutes later, I gotta piss. But within 30 seconds, I'm done. I'm not like I'm a goddamn camel.
I drink for a while, and then I'm like, oh, okay, guys, I gotta go pee. And then I get a book, and I post up, and I take a little vacation.
Might as well.
You take a vacation. So you go to a urinal, and that's your vacation.
It's a hot spot, man. It's
It's
a hot spot when I'm done with it.
All right, so I'm guessing it's close to the 2-hour mark here.
15 seconds.
So we'll go ahead and wrap up.
10, 9,
Matt, shut up! Stop
8,
counting down.
7. I'm probably off anyway.
Yeah.
Woo!
Before we wrap up here,
1, done.
Want any last thoughts?
No, I'm good.
Brian?
You are so exciting, Matt. I can't even contain it.
You guys fucking talking about ghosts and shit the whole time.
Yeah, and guess what? I'm not sleeping tonight.
Well, this is the first one. All right, you know, we got into a lot of different conversations because that's how it goes. You start with one thing and it goes.
Well, no, that's fine.
That's
That's
how
how we
podcasts
are.
So anyway, we'll wrap up. Of course, Matt G,
That's me.
Madness.
Brian Watson,
Woo!
B-Dubs,
Woo!
and of course, you know, Butch Kluck, Bigman Gamer.
Woo!
You guys have a good week, and we'll be in your ear next week.
Yep.
Thanks for listening to our first one.
Why you gotta say it like that?
What?
Like we're in your ear.
Well, fine. What do you want me to say? Be
We're
like,
creeping in your brain.
We're here for when you want to hear us, but we're gonna make you hear us anyway.
We're dropping lava
Take it,
lamps
bitch.
in your ear.
Hey, the lava lamp thing, better watch out. We're getting a lava lamp. But I'm just saying that we'll be here next week. So
Subscribe. Don't be a bitch.
Subscribe to what?
right.
Big Man Gaming.
Well, okay, you can do that, but I think this is just gonna float on the website,
Yeah.
and then I'm gonna
Subscribe to the website,
Well,
which isn't on
eventually get it
YouTube. It doesn't even make sense.
We'll
Yeah.
get it out, eventually get on iTunes.
I do
But
crackhead.
anyway,
Crackhead ass.
we're gonna wrap up here. You guys have a good week.
Bye.